Over the past few months, we've reviewed quite a few bikes, and Italian bikes is where our heart lies, and we've looked at many Italian bikes, and the two brands we've looked at most are Moto Guzzi as well as Aprilia. And they have been brought back to South Africa by a company called IMI, and we're back here again. And today we want to introduce you to the face behind the brand and the managing director who's bringing these two brands back with real passion and force into South Africa. The man I'm talking about is Tshepo. Please tell us, where does your passion for biking come from?
Thanks, Dietmar. Where do I begin? It was the early years of the 80s when we were riding BMXs, and we used to be those crazy guys. Whenever there's a track, we would go and ride it, and we were spotted by a gentleman. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was in the pharmaceutical industry, because our aunt used to always pack us into her car and we'd go everywhere in the country with her while she was busy promoting her work. And we were spotted in a track in Rustenburg by this gentleman who said, "Would you be interested in riding motorcycles?" And you can understand, from paddling as fast as we can, doing all this tabletop jumping, freestyling. We were then introduced into the 50 cc's. And that's when the real love started. However, it was short-lived, because from 1986 to 1988, we were now being nurtured back into the racing, and it was obviously on the dirt tracks. So obviously falling was very nice. We were young, and in 1988, I decided to become a stuntman. And not listen to my trainer at the time, and thought, this tabletop looks like it can be done, and I wanted to freestyle. Lo and behold, I fell, and being the only child, my mother made me say a promise, not to ride motorcycles, actually, and said to me, be like all the other boys and play soccer. I mean, mind you, I was a good soccer player, but that's how I was introduced into riding. I fell in love with it, but from where we come from, we needed to listen to our parents, and unfortunately, I needed to give up, the motorsport games. And now and then, when growing up and obviously traveling overseas, you then tend to realize that the mode of transport is motorcycles, scooters, the likes of the Vespas and all. And I used to sneak in a ride or so. And obviously, being automatic, it's easy. You just throttle and you go. And so throughout the years, I have been riding just on the down low, out of the country. So whatever happens in Thailand, stayed in Thailand. Whatever happened in Spain, stayed in Spain. Whatever happened in Greece, stayed in Greece, because those are the countries that I actually used to ride the scooter, because they didn't have transportation like taxis and stuff like that. You literally get there. Can you ride? Yes. Pay your money, jump on a bike, and off you go. So that's where, but the passion was there, and it did fizzle out up until I met some great gentlemen in IMI, Jonathan Isherwood and Sean Powell. They are the ones who brought me back.
So they twisted your arm?
Well, they didn't really twist my arm. They basically said to me, "Dude, if you're gonna go out there and try and sell bikes, you gotta learn how to ride one." And of course, I thought that it's easy to ride a bike. Little did I know that when you start clutching and balancing and wheeling and all that kind of stuff is actually quite serious. So I didn't just jump back into riding. I actually did go for lessons.
Okay. Yeah, but the bikes you're talking about, you're riding now, are a bit bigger than 50s, eh?
Much bigger than 50s.
A little bit more serious.
I was comfortable with a 750 because I really thought that I wasn't going to kill myself very quickly, which is the perception out there. And, that's one thing that I would also love to change. The perception that bikes are not safe.
Yeah.
Bikes kill people. Bikes are dangerous. And, that perception needs to be eradicated.
Yeah.
And the only way to eradicate it is to actually bring back the biking community, which I started with, which is getting the youngsters to ride again. Because if the youngsters ride, then they learn all the basics, they learn the discipline, they learn to respect the bike. And once you respect the bike, you will understand that just like a car, you will take safety precautions first, you will take care of your environment, and you will want to move from point A to point B without falling.
Yeah. No, myself as well, having ridden motorbike since the age of 15, the younger you start, the better it is. And safety starts with yourself. You can't always blame the guys in the cars.
Correct.
Safety starts with yourself. And Tshepo, tell us, where's your vision? Where do you want to take IMI and these two amazing brands, Aprilia and Moto Guzzi?
Yeah, the vision goes beyond. I was minding my own business during COVID, looking for a game, not finding one. We were hanging blankets, just trying to keep ourselves busy. And Jonathan, who's my business partner, gave me a call and said, stop sitting at home and babysitting, come and see us. And mind you, when I looked at the RSV factory, the love came back again. And it was one of the most difficult times that I had to deal with, because now you have to explain, where are you going nowadays? You're not building houses, you're not working. What are you doing? And at that time, I couldn't really reveal, what I was actually looking at. Because funny enough, when I came to IMI, it was not actually to join the team or to even be part of IMI. It was actually to look for a black investor. Okay. Because the actual transformation of the motor industry, or rather the motorcycle industry, has always been on the backbone of why Jonathan and Ian Huntley decided to bring these two wonderful brands back into the country. Yeah. So when I came in, I was actually being the guy who knows how to raise finance. But for me to be able to let investors know what they're getting themselves into, I needed to learn the brands. So in that 3 months when I was doing the due diligence and learning the brands again, the bikes were in my view. Every day, get to hear that sound. Every day, get to see the guys jumping on the bikes, getting out, customers coming in, jump on the bikes, buy the bikes, get out. I was slowly being dragged right back into where I had left off back in 1988, as I previously said. So eventually, COVID was not easy. A lot of people were looking at the biking industry and they're saying, oh, not now. The timing is not right. We'd like to invest, but we don't understand it. And, And I couldn't lie to them and also basically say that I know everything and everything that goes with the biking community. So it was when in September, when I had to come into the office and tell Jonathan and Ian that I'm really struggling to get investors that can actually really come in. That's when the team looked at me and they said, well, what do you think? And I was like, well, this is a good vibe. This is a wonderful place. I love the team, love the spirit, love the energy, the passion. I mean, it's there. The wonderful team that I work with is amazing, And then they basically said to me, well, we kind of like your entrepreneurial spirit, the fact that you actually took 3 months out of your busy schedule to look for investors. It shows that you actually didn't give up. You kept on looking, you kept on knocking on doors. We kept on meeting a lot of people, talking about it. And meanwhile, the guys were actually watching me. It was like a very long interview.
Yeah.
So eventually, the shareholders got together and they said, well, with the energy that you've shown us in trying to assist the business during COVID time, would you be interested in investing yourself? And to my surprise, I was like, actually, I never thought of that. I've always been the guy that takes money, goes and buy land, do a scheme, build houses, and move on. Because, my banking background taught me that, you can make a lot of money the safe way. It's an investment. And so Jonathan basically sat down with me and said, this is easy, man. The only thing you have to do is just learn how to ride again. And once you are comfortable, you'll find out that everything else will come in naturally. So lo and behold, I had to go and ask for permission. 45-year-old man still had to go home, sit with mommy and say, Moms, I know I had made you a promise that I'll never ride motorcycles again. And my mother said to me, listen, you're a businessman. If you feel that you can do something with this business and take it to greater heights, you've got my blessing. Just increase your life insurance cover. Because I know you are going to fall back in love and you're going to start riding again. Just make sure that my grandchildren will be well taken care of. So, and that's why safety is important. Yeah. And that's what I would actually like to portray to the general public out there, to say biking is not just about leisure. It's actually a lifestyle. You can actually ride to school, you can ride to work, you can avoid traffic. There's so much that can go into it. And so my goal is to basically grow the brands. And mind you, a lot of people will always say, the black community who recently, and when I say recently, I won't be saying in the past 5 years, I think it's probably as much as 15 to 20 years, but it has always been for those black elites, those who can afford, those who live in the suburbs. Because if you go to the township, the bikers, most of them are the guys that are now moved on to the northern, southern, eastern suburbs, and then they go back to the community riding, and they make it look so cool, And all I want to do now is to basically promote it further. Get the lady riders, especially the young lady riders, to actually start riding to school, get comfortable on a bike, get to realize that a bike is part and parcel with you. Yeah. When you are on your bike, it's you and your bike that you need to be in control of.
Yeah, that's a big misconception, is that people think it's the elitist thing. But if you look at countries like India and Thailand, it's actually the cheapest form of commuting. 100%. And that's where it starts. So yes, you've got your touring, you've got your poser bikes, but it all starts with commuting, and it's most probably the cheapest way of commuting.
It actually is. I mean, to fill up a tank with under 250 rands in these trying times and still manage to get 100 to 450, well, I ride very comfortable and gently, so I get more mileage on my tank, unlike the super bikers out there.
We filmed you on the bike.
You did?
Yes.
As nervous I was, but I really did enjoy it, because I was saying to myself, I've got both hands on the bike, and here is Dietmar, one hand looking backwards while his bike is going forward and he's doing the film. Clearly, this thing is not rocket science. It's easy.
Yeah.
You're not paddling, you're just throttling, and the wind is blowing. And you made it look very simple. And that's what we would actually like to bring it back into the communities and say, actually, riding should become the way of life.
Yeah.
It will also solve a lot of traffic congestions, because if we take a lot of people off the cars and put them on bikes, then traffic congestion will also come easy. But I recently fell in love with racing again, and oh my goodness, I'm a changed man.
Any plans to get on a bike on the track yourself?
A small one.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a gentleman by the name of Sean Powell, who's my business partner and marketing head of marketing, who said to me, "You'll rather maybe start me with a much faster but slower than the current ones that we have." And I won't lie, I listened to him because he's an ex-racer, and he understands biking. Today I'm comfortable to jump on a bike, even get a pillion on the bike, and I'm very comfortable handling the bike. And I moved from a 750 to a 1400. I won't mention names as to how I moved from 750 to 1400. The gentleman knows himself. Yeah. But,
He moved you off your bike.
He stole my bike. Paid for it, but I still feel it was theft. But one day I'm sure he'll let me ride it again, since there's only 2 of them in the country. But, the point I wanted to put across is that it's respecting the motorcycle. I mean, a motorcycle is fast, it's strong, and if you do not respect it, it will come out stronger than you. But because a bike is replaceable, but legs and a head and all of that, life is not replaceable.
Yeah, but also the 2 brands you promoting and represent are pretty much Italian sculptures. So it can also be an investment. So you look after it nicely, it'll look after you, and 100%. Ultimately it is an investment long term. You're not going to lose.
100%. And the lifestyle element of it, it's amazing. What I mean, I look at the team. I mean, through all these trying times, but cheapest, we wake up in the morning because we want to come out here and do something different. COVID is not really being helping, but ultimately we just don't want the Moto Guzzi brand and the Aprilia brand, especially on the racing side, to just be for the elite. We want to bring youngsters back into the racing. We want to, if I may use the words, we want to transform the racing arena. We want to see more young black women, especially, riding, and just not from the racing side, but purely from commuting side, to actually understand that this brand is actually here to stay.
Yeah. No, to interrupt there, we had an interview with Sean Powell regards the Aprilia Racing Academy that you're also going to start in. So you're looking at this business holistically.
We're looking at it holistically.
It is exciting that you're getting young, previously disadvantaged, you're getting everyone together.
That is the most important key. And as I said, that to stress the lifestyle element. I mean, when we went to go watch one of our racers race, it's a different, completely lifestyle. I'm a golfer. I love spending 5 hours on a golf course, enjoying myself, thinking nothing but golf. Yeah. I found myself in East London thinking nothing but bikes. I found myself praying for the rain to go away because I wanted to see more racing. Yeah. And it's a complete mind shift. But in terms of going forward, it actually motivates me more that we need to work harder. We need to take cognizance of our customers. We need to look after our customers. And we need to take these brands to the greater heights that they can go into. Aprilia, racing, lifestyle, having a nice hot woman sitting behind, holding on tight to you when you're going at those great speeds. What a wonderful feeling. However, we need to come back into the business side of things and actually promote the Moto Guzzi, the V85 TT that we have. There's so much that can be done with that bike. Off-roading, traveling to and from work, going off on a picnic. This bike is easy to ride. It's one of those that is not being taken up as much as we'd like to, but without divulging our company secrets, we've got a plan. But Moto Guzzi is here to stay, and it's here to take on the next 100 years. The previous 100 years was not in the hands of the South Africans per se, but we want to make sure that in South Africa this brand grows to greater heights than before.
Yeah, but it was also really nice on your 100-year anniversary of the brand, Moto Guzzi, to see what kind of bikes came out of the woodwork. There are some really special bikes from the last 50 years in this country, hidden away.
Hidden away, yes.
It was really nice with your input and promoting the brand, resurrecting the brand, if we can call it, to see those guys dust them off and bring them back out.
That was amazing.
And like you mentioned, the V85 has secrets that people need to come chat to you about. Being shaft drive, there is no maintenance on that bike. Not a crazy horsepower bike, so perfect for commuting, wide handlebars, low seat, so perfect commuter, perfect tourer, lifestyle, like you say, perfect bike to take someone on a date with, even.
100%, 100%, and affordable. You know, it's not the one that's going to break your bank. You know, for guys who really want to start off lightly and get comfortable, V85 is the way to go. You know, as much as yes, in the showroom we've got, you know, the petrol heads and all of that, I'm more on the relaxed side. I'm more of a Guzzi man. I actually bought myself one, and you know, I'm enjoying it. I've seen you know, the facial expressions of the drivers out there. You know, when you're wearing a closed helmet, you know, that perception is what I actually really want to change, because it's amazing how you tend, look at a car and you flip your visor and then people are like, oh, it's a black man. Then all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's such a cool bike. We've never seen it before. And that's what we need to bring back, you know, the passion, get people comfortable, to say, you know what, let me go to IMI and talk to those guys. Let me get a bike that will suit my riding skills. You know, our guys here, we don't just sell bikes to anybody. You know, we engage with the customer. We get to know what is it that they want. You know, our team is well versed in the products. They will tell the guys that we don't think that you should be starting with so much, because as much as we can, our bikes are not cheap. You know, the Italians, they don't do cheap, from clothing, from shoes, you know, the Rosmodas, the Cavellas of this world. Everything about Italian has always been exquisite. But at the same time, if you go into our communities, when you look at the dress code, a lot of black people will wear Italian clothing. You know, and they will be very proud to say, I've spent 12,000 rands from shoe down to my jeans, down to my belt and all of that. And what we're trying to bring is that you can actually continue with that coolness and actually have a motorbike that will suit your lifestyle and actually enjoy the lifestyle that comes with it.
By exclusivity.
By exclusivity.
Be an individual and not follow the crowd, eh?
Yes, unfortunately, we do not want to promote clubs and big, massive. We want to promote going around with other bikers and bring your own exclusive bike. That's why we don't bring in a lot of massive numbers when it comes to our handmade bikes in the Moto Guzzi range, the Audaces and your MGX21. You know, there's only 6 in the country. The first person who bought that bike does not even know how to ride, but he knew that he was buying an asset, because if it's one of 6, he knows that once the other 5 have disappeared, he will be the one that everybody will be looking at saying, can we get that asset off your hands? So, you know, it's not just about riding as well. It's actually, you're buying an asset. We're looking at customers coming in, asking us, do you know somebody that can still sell me a Moto Guzzi or an Aprilia 2014? And then you're like, why 2014? We're in 2021. And then you realize that it's the love of the brand. People are saying, I know I want an Aprilia, or I know I want a Moto Guzzi, but I can't afford the brand new ones. So if I can get an older model, then I can afford it and get to enjoy the brands. Then in the future, that's the family that we want to create, that these guys must be seen by the young ones, and then those young ones are our future customers in the future.
But I also think that it's a little known fact that most Aprilia and Guzzi owners own more than one. They start with one and then they cannot separate from that one and just add.
Well, if you want to look at it in a different way, I also looked at only buying one and eventually decided to take part in the business and own multiple that can be at my disposal. But yes, as a collector, I would also I don't see myself only owning one in the future, especially as we said that most of our bikes, they don't come in thousands and 200,000s, they're limited. The Piaggio family that we belong to, they take pride in what they do, so they don't do mass production. They do limited production that can be serviced to the rest of the world. So when you own an Aprilia and you own a Moto Guzzi, you're not part of the mass. You're part of the elite, and you'll be recognized because they're quite good bikes.
Thank you for your time, Tshepo. That was awesome background information, and it's really great to hear where this company is going to take these two awesome brands. And I recommend, if you have some time, go have a look at the special offerings, the creative deals, and the beautiful sculptures available on the floors here at IMI. And they have a branch in Cape Town and one here in Bryanston, Sandton. And if you enjoyed this, please remember to click like and subscribe and follow us.